As North Americans, our culture has become embedded with unnecessary consumption, which is directly tied to the growing issue of excessive waste. Shopping malls are laden with people who already have so much, but constantly feel the need to buy and consume more. When was the last time you stopped to think about all the things you already have and what you take for granted? Did you know that 20% of the world's population uses up 80% of the entire world's resources? That's like if there were only 10 people on Earth, only 2 of those 10 people would have access to the cleanest, safest, and best things in the world, whereas the other 8 would be left with little to nothing. As North Americans, we're part of that 20%, and our disregard for all the things that we take for granted is the major driving force for this global issue. In North America, we are blessed to have some of the safest, cleanest, and most delicious tap water in the world. But this precious resource is also one of the most underappreciated and most taken for granted. Despite the fact that bottled water is in many ways less regulated than tap water, and that 40% of that water starts out as tap water to begin with and is sold back to us at a price of 240 to 10,000 times the price of what we pay for tap water, over $100 billion is still spent on bottled water every year. In the USA alone, there are more than 500,000 bottles purchased every week. As a whole, we dump 40 million plastic bottles back into the environment every day, and the worst part is that 80% of those bottles don't even get recycled. 38 million plastic bottles go into the dump every year in the USA alone, and this number doesn't even include plastic pop bottles.
Did you know that it takes not 1, not 2, but 3 of these just to make 1 of these?
This is an example of a filthier part of Vancouver, but for almost 1 billion people who only have access to dirty and diseased water that's millions of miles away from their homes, their only access to water is worse than what can be found in puddles like this. If you knew that the cost of 1 case of bottled water can supply a person in Africa with clean and safe drinking water for the next 5 years, and that $20 can provide a whole village with clean and safe drinking water for 20 years, wouldn't you rather spend your bottled water money on helping the 1.1 billion people who desperately need it? Let's stop taking our water for granted. Let's stop creating plastic waste, and let's use that wasteful spending towards sharing our abundance with those who don't even have access to the bare necessities of life. Join us at SFU from March 21st to the 25th and pledge to make a change in the way you consume water. Come help fund international water projects and pick up a reusable bottle so that we can eliminate the need for plastic water bottles altogether.